to talk a little bit about our mission and vision. And I don't know if anybody has typically, well, I see some of the guys with women, and Mikey does. Mikey has, stand up a minute, Mikey. Mikey has on one of our t-shirts today that says, I connect. Thank you, you're a perfect t-shirt model. And so, you know, that's what we, around here, we kind of backed into that phrase, I don't know, years ago, but it kind of stuck. And so what we say here at Eden is a place to connect. And we use as a symbol, normally you'll see somewhere connected with about everything we do is some kind of a puzzle piece. And we realize, and I hope you do, that we are an intricate piece of the puzzle. That God has this mosaic, God has this puzzle that He is putting together here in this place that we call Eden, here at 3271 Peachtree Road, here in Cooley Springs. God has this puzzle that He's put together. By the way, you know what I believe very strongly, that not only is God putting together the piece of the puzzle for Eden, but I love how God's puzzle also includes other churches and other peoples of faith, that in the bigger puzzle, we all fit together. We're all part of the body of Christ, the kingdom of God. And that's pretty exciting, because sometimes we think that our little puzzle is it, and it's not. God has a way of putting us together, but then joining us together with other persons and peoples of faith, so that we all fit together to make this beautiful mosaic that God is painting here within the confines of this community and even our state, and then you can go beyond that. So one of the things that I love for us to just know, if somebody were to come up to you on the sidewalk and say, what's the mission, what's the vision of Eden Wesleyan Church? And it's printed in your bulletin every week, but if you're like me, if you see something all the time, then you don't see it at all. That's the way it works. And so I want you to just read out loud with me. I'll throw it up on the screen. Eden exists. You ready? You say it with me. Eden exists to honor God by making more disciples for Jesus Christ. Eden exists to honor God by making more disciples for Jesus Christ. And obviously, I underline the making more disciples part, because that's the way that we honor God. Is that we create, that through the ministry and the mission and vision of the church, that we create, we make more disciples. We can only lead them. God does the work. We understand that. But we want to do our part in creating an environment and an atmosphere where people can become disciples, can become followers of Jesus Christ. And that's honoring to God. Amen? It's what He called us to do. He said, go and do just that. So, the way that we kind of share that, our three little things that we hang things on is this. So say these with me, because Eden is, people that are part of the Eden family, we say this. We say Eden is a place to, throw that next slide up. Yep, there we go. Eden is a place to connect to worship, to connect to others, and connect to serve. Eden is a place to connect to worship. Eden is a place to connect to others. And Eden is a place to connect to serve. By the way, if we only do the first two, we have failed. Because we believe that God is calling us to help people to discover their gifts, to discover who they are in Christ. As Haley just said, as Haley read all the scriptures about who we are in Christ. That's so exciting. But God doesn't just say, hey, I want you to know who you are. You've got to do something with who you are. And so there's the service. Now, I want to just tell you, you guys are doing an incredible job. I mean, it's amazing when we see the number of people and how God works to help us to serve. So this month, though, we're going to come back and we're going to spend this month talking about this idea of what does it mean to connect to worship. What does it mean to connect to worship? Why is worship such an important piece of the puzzle? The guys that just walked off the platform, we call them the worship team. I love that. I love that phrase. I have no problem with that. But here's my fear of that. No offense to these guys, because I might have been the one who started saying, hey, no, these guys are the worship team. They lead us in worship. But here's what bugs me about that is, if we relegate worship to just a song, or if we relegate worship to just singing, we have severely missed the point.
That's right.
That's in essence, why do churches, and just about every church in the world does this, why do we have this order of worship? Where typically speaking, you come to church, there's a prayer, there's singing, and then there's preaching, and then maybe there might be a song or two after that sometimes. Why is it? Because God created us and designed us in such a way that there's something about singing, the melody, the joyous melody of a song that leads us into worship. I mean, we could, I guess we ought to try this some Sunday, just show up and let me preach first and then sing, That would really mess with people's heads. And like, no, when you're done preaching, I'm supposed to leave. No. I mean, because worship is more than a song. It's more than just music. In fact, and we even use other forms. When we talk about, and it's true, we talk about worshiping through our giving. When we give, when we honor God by giving back to Him the first fruits of that which He has blessed us with. We talked about that months ago, last year in the Blessed Life. When we honor God with our first fruits, that is an act of worship. When they ask for volunteers down at Kids Connect, and we worship through volunteering, we worship through serving, that is truly, again, that is an act of worship. They are expressions of worship. But I wanted to try, this week I was just like, Lord, how do I say this? What does true worship really look like? What does true worship really look like? And this is what I wrote down. Worship is a spiritual discipline. Worship is a spiritual discipline that we should give priority to. Worship does not just happen on Sunday morning. Worship should happen every day, many times every hour of our week. Our entire life should be an expression of worship back to God. Webster defines worship like this. He says, worship is honor with extravagant love and extreme submission. Worship is honor with extravagant love. True worship, in other words, is defined by the priority we place on who God is in our life. I need to let this marinate for a second. True worship is defined by the priority, listen, true worship is defined by the priority we place on who God is in my life. What role does He hold? What position is He in? Where is God in my list of priorities? True worship, then, true worship is a matter of the heart expressed through a lifestyle of holiness. Worship is a matter of the heart, something happens in here, expressed through a lifestyle of holiness before God. So here's our word. If our life, the way we live every day, does not express the beauty of holiness, and holiness is trying to be more and more and more like God, that's holy. God said, be holy, for I am holy. Okay? So, if our lifestyle does not express the beauty of holiness through an intentional love for God, which will be lived out in submission to God, we need to check our idea of worship. So it's something that happens in my heart that I live out in my everyday life as an expression of holiness, as an intentional act of love, submitting myself, that's a big part of this, submitting myself to the supremacy of God in my life, recognizing that He is in control. Y'all awake this morning?
Yes.
Okay. So there must, somebody said no. There must be, number one, you can write this down in front of your bulletin. Let's dive into this. There must be, in my life, there must be a commitment to worship. Now, life can be a little bit like trying to work a puzzle. Now, I'm assuming all the pieces are here because I discovered this morning, as I went to the closet and pulled out a puzzle, that this box had never been opened before. And so, how many of you in here love working puzzles? There's like 3 of you. Okay, and do you ever look at puzzles and you look at all of these jumbled up pieces? And I mean, the first thing that you have to do is, go through and turn them all over so that you can see the colors on the right side of the puzzle piece. And I get that. I mean, you have to do that. But how do you go about solving a puzzle? Maybe some of you go through and first of all, you look at the box top and you're like, okay, there's a whole bunch of blue right over there. And so you start to find all the pieces with blue on them and you put them over there in that hole. That's a gray one, we'll put it there. Oh, wait. And so maybe you divide all the blues and the greens and the grays and you put them into piles according to their color. Or, maybe you're like, let me see if I'm just going to start. So you pick up, I love it when they come out of the box and there's 2 pieces already together. So, I mean, we're great to go right there. So, you begin to say, okay, I got 2 pieces there, and you begin to immediately start looking for that other piece that looks like it might go there. And if I were to actually find a piece, I would probably just be amazed. But anyway, I mean, you just start. And I was like, no, that's not how you start a puzzle. You look for all the border pieces, and you find the border pieces, and once you define the border of where the puzzle is, then you can start working towards the middle, and you can start working through all those pieces. Or you can be like me and say, get that stupid puzzle out of here, because I hate puzzles, and they take up the kitchen table, and we can never eat on them for 2 weeks. And the cats come along and lose 3 pieces, and then you get the whole puzzle done, and you can't find 3 pieces, which ruins the whole thing. You know what? Here's the thing. I can pick up pieces, and even as I pick up pieces that match these pieces over here, what I discover is that, wait a second, puzzle pieces don't always fit. I mean, we get this piece and we're like, well, I got this piece right here, and it sure looks like it ought to fit with this piece right here, but for some reason, it just doesn't go together, just like I thought that it would. And no matter how hard we try, I mean, if you're like me, I mean, I've made some puzzles, and I decided, that the problem is that the machine didn't cut out the pieces good enough, so if I mash harder, and I can make that thing pop into place, and it's actually the right piece that goes there, and then I discover later on, no. I mean, there's one thing in solving any puzzle. I guess what a challenge it would be. Can you imagine trying to solve a puzzle without a box top? If you didn't know what the picture was supposed to look like before you started trying to put all these pieces together, would that not be maddening? I mean, it would seriously be maddening to try to put a puzzle together without the box top. We need the box top. It's the only thing that comes close to making sense of that pile of cardboard. I mean, we've got the box top. We know that that is supposed to eventually look like that if we sit there and go through the pieces long enough. This hit me like a ton of bricks this week, and I hope it does you as well. Do you want to know why worship is so important? It's because this is our life, but we don't have a box top. God does. And we can't see the picture that God is putting together with our life. And so many times the pieces make absolutely no sense whatsoever. How could that possibly be good? How could that possibly be right? What in the world is going on? We don't have the box top, and it becomes then why worship is so important. Because we have this jumbled up pile of cardboard called life that can leave us scratching our heads going, seriously? There's a passage that I referred to a couple of weeks ago out of 1 Corinthians. I want to go back to it one more time because it fits so well here. It's 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 12. And it says, "For now we see only a reflection in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part. But then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known." Can I read that one more time? I want you to hear this, because there's two words that I want us to grab out of this that are going to carry us this morning. For now we see only a reflection in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now, I know in part, but then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. Did you catch that? We have a now. That's this pile of cardboard. We have a now. We have a present reality. We have a now, and we are looking forward to a then when we will see everything clearly and it all makes sense. When suddenly, the more and more pieces of the puzzle that start to come together, what? Oh, wow! I didn't see that coming. That's beautiful. That's amazing. God, how did you do that? So we get our bunch of puzzle pieces together, and all of a sudden, and I'm not even going to attempt this morning, but we're working through this pile of cardboard, and suddenly we find two pieces that go together. I mean, wow. We're like, wow, yes. And then we're digging through the pile, and suddenly, boom, there it is. There's the next piece. And we put a piece together, and then we got another piece, and it goes together. And suddenly we got 6 little pieces of a puzzle all together. And we're so excited out of our 10,000-piece puzzle, however many that thing is, 1,000. And out of a 1,000-piece puzzle, we got like 6 pieces, and we're so excited. It's like, whoa, yeah, this is all working so good. And then we can't seem to find it. I mean, we go through the pile looking for that piece, and it's like, it's not here. And we can't seem to find this piece because there's pieces that just don't seem to fit to anything. Life looks like that sometimes. We lose our job. And we thought, wow, no, what? This was a place where I was going to fulfill my career. This was going to fulfill all my dreams. This was going to be the thing that provided for my family. What? You're closing the company. What? And you're in the now. And you're waiting on the then. Trying to find some sense in this crazy, messed up pile of pieces called life. Or you thought you were going to grow old and enjoy life with your spouse. And they're either gone because they left you, or they're gone You thought everything was going to be great. You were going to get to enjoy all the grandkids and laugh together. They're gone, or the doctor comes in and drops the bomb. Maybe it's you. The doctor comes in and says, hey, you got this disease, and you're in the now. And you're looking for the then. How do I make sense of this? And the question becomes, and if we can begin to grasp this and understand why worship becomes so important, here's the question. Here's the question. How do we live in the now, this big pile of messed up pieces? How do we live in the now while we trust God for the then? Because now it doesn't make sense. Now it's a muddy mess. Now it's crazy. Now it's no! So how do we live in the now while we trust God for the then? To illustrate the point, let's go to the Word. Matthew chapter 11 is a story of John the Baptist. Part of it. And I want us to just share this morning. Matthew chapter 11, verse 2 says this. When John, who was in prison, heard about the deeds of the Messiah, he sent his disciples to ask him, are you the one who is to come? Or should we expect someone else? Now, we jump into the story about John the Baptist, and we find him in prison. This is not just anybody. This is John the Baptist. This is the guy who was the fulfillment of Old Testament prophecy. When the Word said, I'm going to send one to prepare the way of the Lord, like a voice crying in the wilderness. This is the John the Baptist who was in his mother Elizabeth's womb, and when Mary and Jesus, who was in Mary's womb, walked into the room, John the Baptist in his mama's womb began to leap for joy. That John the Baptist. That's John the Baptist and Jesus, who are cousins. They're like second cousins, if we're counting. I mean, this is the John the Baptist who knew that he was in the presence of Jesus before either one of them drew their first breath of air on earth. And we see this John, who was at the Jordan River when Jesus came and he baptized Jesus. He heard the voice of God from heaven. We see this John saying, are you sure? Are you sure? And I think what I hear John saying is, I'm not sure I signed up for this. You see, first I was out in the wilderness, and I was wearing this really, camel hair garment. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound very appealing to me. I was wearing this really itchy, really uncomfortable coat. There was no Marriott, no Motel 6, not even an Econo Lodge that I could stay in. I mean, I'm out there. And don't even get me started about the food. Seriously, I lived off of locusts and wild honey. And John finds himself in prison. What? Wait a second. I thought that I was the one that was the fulfillment of this Old Testament prophecy. I thought I was the guy. I mean, I thought I was the deal. And so John calls his buddies and he says, listen, I need you guys to go talk to this guy, Jesus. And I need you to ask him this question. Or are we supposed to wait for somebody else? You see, John is in the now. And he is seriously lost about the then. Because to John, this doesn't make any sense. Can I just, I don't know if I left you a place to write this down or not, but worship can get really difficult when we are in the now looking for the then. Worship can get really difficult when we are in the now looking for the then. When we are in this jumbled up pile of cardboard mess, trying to make sense without a box top to go by, trying to figure out what in the world is going on, worship can get really difficult. Why? Why is worship important? So John's disciples go talk to Jesus. In verse 4 and 5, I love this. Jesus replied, "Go back and report to John what you hear and what you see." Go back and report, not just what I said, go back and tell John what you heard and what you see. The blind receive sight, the lame walk, those who have leprosy are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the good news is proclaimed to the poor. Now, I don't know about you. This is where, all of us good Christian folks, we want to jump up and say, "Woo! Yes! Praise God! God is on the move. God is working. It's time to get some worship on up in here. This is awesome. God is good." Everybody loves this stuff. I mean, the pieces of the puzzle, man, all of a sudden it's like you're a puzzle ninja. And those pieces are coming together and this puzzle is working. You're like, wow! This is life. This is awesome. The deaf are hearing. The blind are seeing. The lame are walking. Life is good. I'm with you. I love it when life makes sense. I love it when all the pieces start fitting together, just like they're supposed to fit, and everything's working just like it's supposed to work. Unfortunately, Jesus wasn't done talking. Nah, he didn't stop with, those who have leprosy are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the good news is proclaimed to the poor. He kept on talking. And in verse 6 he says, "Blessed is anyone who does not stumble on account of me." You know what I hear? I hear Jesus saying, "I am worthy of worship when the lame are walking. I am worthy of worship when the deaf are hearing. I am worthy of worship when the blind are seeing. I am worthy of worship when the leper is being cleansed." And John, when you stay right there in prison, because he never got out, John, when you stay right there in prison and ultimately die there, I am still worthy of your worship. You see, we have to make a commitment to worship. You see, John, I'm the Messiah. And yes, you can worship me because of all the good stuff that's happening. But John, Richard, Mikey, Eden Church, I'm the Messiah, and my sovereignty doesn't depend on your circumstances.
Yeah.
The God who is worthy of my worship when all the pieces start to fit together, and I'm the puzzle ninja, I'm the puzzle master. That God doesn't change when the pieces don't fit and they don't make sense. And we can't seem to figure out how this is supposed to go together. Why? because he has the box top.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Yeah.
It's his, not mine. You see, God's power, God's authority doesn't change. And it's not dependent on my circumstances. Trust me, trust us. Okay? When the pieces aren't fitting, and when things aren't going the way that we think they ought to go, or whatever your circumstances are, or my circumstances are, and trust me, we all have a now, a present reality. And we are looking forward to a then, what we cannot see. We're looking forward to when God says, look, see what I was creating? Yes, God, I see that. I hear Jesus saying, John, I know you got some now. I know you're trying to figure out, how could I be the fulfillment of prophecy? How could I have been the one who baptized the Messiah? How could I have been the one who had disciples themselves? People follow me. How could I be that guy and be this guy in prison? How could I be that guy and be this guy who's going to be beheaded? How could I be that guy and be this guy? Jesus says, and I want to tell you right now, as I'm preaching this, I want to tell you, I don't like it. There are times I don't like it. And John, Jesus says, John, this piece, it belongs right here, right now. You're not the wrong place. You're not the wrong piece in the wrong place. You were right where I designed you to be. You don't see it yet, and even though it's not going to feel good, I'm doing something good. So number 2, let me go back to that question. Let's see if we can answer that a little bit. How do we live in the now? How do we live in the now and trust God for the then? How do we do this? Because too many times, you and I are just like John. We're like, wait a second. I baptized you. I heard the voice of God. Are you sure you're the real deal? Because if you were the real deal, how am I here? And we find ourselves in this tension of living in the now and waiting for the then. And we ask the same questions. Is this really God? Why is this stuff happening to me? I thought living a Christian life is supposed to make things better. You know who loves these times in our life? You know who loves this tension? Satan. Satan loves these tension times in our life because he loves it when we question. And he comes to you and I, and I'm just going to speak from personal experience, and he blames it on you, and he blames it on me. Thought you were supposed to be this super Christian. Thought things were supposed to be going so well. See? It's all your fault, and you're going to fail again. You might as well just throw up your hands and quit. If you had real faith, then stuff like this wouldn't happen to you. You must have messed up really bad for God to be punishing you in this way. See, God doesn't trust you. Anybody else ever feel like that? Don't raise your hand. I don't. I'm just going to tell you I don't. Satan loves to go back and remind me of my failures. And he knows just when to start reminding me. And I'm in the now. Sometimes it's really hard to trust God in the now, is it? Sometimes it's really difficult to trust God in the now, waiting for the then. When it all makes sense, when it all comes together. Why am I going through this? Haley, you had no idea that I was going to preach this morning. What you shared was so on point. Because I want you to hear this. You've read with me so far, right? John the Baptist is in prison. He's trying to figure out why he's there. And he sends word by his disciples to Jesus to say, are you really the Messiah? He questions God because of his now. He doesn't understand his then. And Jesus starts talking to the crowd. John's disciples leave. They go back to tell John what Jesus said, and Jesus turns in Matthew chapter 11 and starts talking to the crowd. Check this out. And he starts talking about his second cousin John. He said, who did you guys go out in the wilderness to see anyway? Did you go out and see some? I love Peterson in the Message. I looked it up and I had to include it. He said, did you go out to see a weekend camper, a fancy chic in silk pajamas? You didn't find that out there in the wilderness. What you found out in the wilderness was a prophet, probably the best prophet that you're ever going to encounter in your entire life. This is Jesus talking about John the Baptist. Check this. In fact, in verse 11, here's what Jesus says. He said, truly I tell you, among those born of women, there has not risen anyone greater than John the Baptist. Oh man, this hit me. Listen, while John is sending people to question Jesus, while John's faith is shaky, while John's faith is about question, Jesus is telling people that John the Baptist is the greatest. Even while John is doubting, Jesus is affirming. Why? Easy answer. Because he loves him. Because he knows who he is. Because Jesus knows who John is more than John knows who John is. Can I just encourage you and I this morning? When you and I are going through the now and we begin to doubt and Satan comes along and says, thought you were some super Christian, or God must be punishing you because you've done something so bad that God is doing this to you. Listen. Let me tell you what God in heaven is doing. He's saying, wow, that's my boy, that's my girl. I see what they're going through. Oh God, help them to hang on. Let me come alongside. The Holy Spirit rush to them and give them strength and give them courage and give them help and give them hope. Holy Spirit, go and minister to them. See, I think Jesus completely understands the tension between the now and the then. God is big enough for my questions. God is big enough for me pumping my fist in the air at God, mad about what is going on in my life. He's not intimidated by me. He's big enough for my temper tantrums. And when I'm beating on the table, trying to make the pieces fit, he's still big enough. He hasn't changed. So how do we live in the now, simply trusting God for the then? Well, I'm going to call it simply complicated. Simply complicated. And in the doubts, write this down. In the doubts of today, I will trust His tomorrow. In the doubts of today, in the now when things don't make a lot of sense, I will trust in His tomorrows. Easily one of my favorite verses in the Scriptures, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. I can know. See, there's something I can know that God is putting the pieces of my life together, the puzzle of my life together. I might not see it yet. I might not ever see it until I get to heaven and go, wow, God, I didn't realize that my puzzle pieces was touching their puzzle pieces, because their puzzle pieces were the heart of the picture. And I was just one little, I was a bush or part of the road or whatever it was in that beautiful mosaic that you... And that doesn't mean when the doctor comes in and says, "Sir, ma'am, you've got cancer." It doesn't mean we go, "Praise the Lord, I've got cancer, that's awesome." God bring you to a place of worship. When we get the peace of God in our most difficult circumstances. Can I tell you something? Listen, church, let's be careful. I want to take this opportunity to share this morning. I think sometimes when we get the peace of God, I mean, some of you know this story better than I. You can tell the story out of personal experience and recent events in your life. Because so many times when somebody gets a terrible disease or somebody gets something terrible happening in their life, but somehow we take it to the Lord in prayer and we begin to leave it with God and we get this peace of God in our life. We go, "Oh, great! That means I'm going to be healed. That means everything's going to be fixed. That means everything's going to turn out for the better. I mean, everything's going to be right." What if God's puzzle? What if God's puzzle means we die of cancer? Does that change His power or His authority? See, worship suddenly is about what role does God play in my life? It's extravagant honor and submission to His authority. See, in the doubts of today, in the now, in the doubts of today, we trust His tomorrows. Sharon and I, she could probably correct me on the parts of the story that I get wrong. I was a youth pastor at Clearview Wesleyan Church in Martinsville, Virginia. And we became very good friends with a young couple that was close to us in age. They were both school teachers, wonderful people. Their names were John and Jean Westphalen. And John and Jean didn't have children, and they got pregnant and discovered that Jean was pregnant with twins. They were so excited. They were wonderful people. I can't tell you how much they helped us and our kids, and just they were great, great people. Still are. Somewhere closer to the end of Jean's pregnancy, they discovered that something was wrong. Something was wrong with the babies. And the church began to pray. Oh my! People all over the country, this was before the days of social media, but people all over the country, friends and family and people in the church, they were anointed with oil. They were prayed over. You could just sense God's presence. I was at the hospital the day that those two little twin babies were born. They lived about 30 minutes. They died. We had a graveside service and buried their little bodies. It bugs me sometimes when we talk about answers to prayer, and we only talk about answers to prayer when God does what we thought He should have done. John and Jean went on to have more children or less as a family. How do I understand God's goodness when stuff happens that I don't like? I trust a God who has something bigger in mind? Can I trust a God who's taking this pile of cardboard I call life, all these messed up pieces, and He's putting it together because He has the box top, not me. I don't even know what it's supposed to look like. God, can I live in the now? And I don't even have to, I'm not telling us that we have to love the now. John didn't love the now. I don't think John laid his head under an executioner's sword and had his head chopped off going, oh, this is awesome. This is great. But we live in the now, trusting God for the then. And we do that in the middle of our doubts. We do it in the middle of our confusion. And in the doubts of today, we trust His tomorrows. How do you do that? How do you do that? I only know one way. God, teach me how to worship. Teach me how to come to You in worship. Worship You when the blind are being healed, when the lame are walking, when the lepers are being cleansed, when the deaf are hearing. But help me to worship You when I find myself in prison and I'm not getting out. When I'm going to become the victim of an executioner's sword. Lord, connect me to worship. Because I don't understand how all these pieces go. I don't understand how they fit together. Maybe we're here this morning and we're like, God, I don't understand. Maybe I don't even feel like I signed up for this. It just doesn't make sense. How did you come? But God, today, God, I don't understand my now. God, I'm trusting You for my then. I don't understand how all this works, God. So right where you sit, bow your heads. Take that connection card. Maybe you want to jot a prayer request or a note or just some way that I can encourage you. Maybe your now, right now, is fairly overwhelming. Maybe you find it difficult to worship. But I'm telling you, worship is the only breakthrough of living in the now and trusting God for the then. Oh God, speak to our hearts this morning. I'll invite you to stand with me this morning, and Haley's just playing quietly. Maybe I'm going to dismiss you in just a second. I love you. I'm going to pray with you today. I don't know how to get this service. I'm just telling you that's the truth. I don't. And so I'm just going to stay right here for a second up front. If you'd love me to pray with you, maybe you need to find Pastor Mike, Pastor Brady, maybe a friend. Because sometimes when we're in the now, see, John needed to hear the word from his buddies when they came back from talking to Jesus. When you're in the now and you're waiting for the then, sometimes that hole feels deep and lonely and empty. Jesus, we give you this time of worship. Teach us in it, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. You're dismissed. Love you guys.